Hello and welcome to Fresh Face Comics, the comic book podcast where a lifelong comic book reader guides his friends through the world of comics for the first time. My name is Joey Morgan, the aforementioned lifelong reader. With me as always is Jacob Licklider, the aforementioned newbie.
What are they, some kind of Justice League?
I
didn't prepare.
There's an actual Suicide Squad episode in Unlimited.
Oh, go!
It's really good. Although, here's the thing, though: in Unlimited, they can't call it Suicide Squad because Cartoon Network. They call it Task Force X.
Okay. See, I didn't prepare a bit for this episode, so I was
that's on you.
I was going off. Today you're having very underprepared, Jacob.
Yeah, I apparently was also unprepared, but not in a way that I realized, because I don't know. As I started saying the intro, I was like, wait a second, is it different for the bonus episodes? And then I remembered it's not. So anyway, we're talking about Justice League.
Yes,
Justice League, that good old cartoon. We're finally at long last continuing our viewings of the DC animated universe, as directed by mostly Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and the like.
Though I think by this point it's really started to shift to Dwayne McDuffie. Like, this back half is very
true.
Tim starts to take it back because this is one of the few shows that was running at the same time as another show, right? At least for some of it, right? Because Batman Beyond.
I think Batman Beyond had already ended, actually.
Did it?
I think so. Had just ended.
Okay.
Either that or was on like its final season.
Okay, yeah, because I thought, like, I know they're like those things that are like right there, like right in between, but also it wasn't like Static Shock also going on, I think.
Yeah, Static Shock is also part of it. I've actually never seen Static Shock.
I don't know if Static Shock has been like.
Are you like tossing a bottle cap around or something?
Yeah, with my hands. I'm just gonna throw this away.
It's coming through on the mic, and I'm not gonna cut this out because I think it's kind of funny. Anyway,
because like has Static Shock been released on like
officially
physical media?
I don't know, actually.
I don't know if it has.
I mean, I'm sure there are ways to watch it, but I don't know, actually. I'm not sure.
It's one of those things that it's Static Shock is the one like DC AU show that I think probably doesn't get nearly as talked about. Because it's adapting I don't want to say an unpopular character, but a more adult character for a younger audience.
And also like Static Shock is as far as I understood was like, I mean, despite the fact that all these are cartoons that aired for children, I think Static Shock was a bit more kid oriented than a lot of the others, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong. I don't know. I know a lot of people love it, and I should probably check it out. But that's on me. I don't know. I always consider like the DC animated universe to be just, Batman, Superman, Justice League Unlimited, and Batman Beyond, and like that's kind of it for me. Though I know there are technically others. Plus there are movies, but movies are movies.
At least 2-3 movies technically.
Well, there's Phantasm.
No, 4, because I always forget about the Batman Beyond movie.
Well, hang on. So there's Phantasm, there's Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, there's Return of the Joker, there's Mystery of the Batwoman.
Okay.
Which is a weird one, if you've ever seen that. Then there are the newer ones they did, Batman and Harley Quinn, and Justice League versus the Fatal Five, which was actually really good. I loved that last one. That last one was so good. But yeah, I think that's all the movies there were that are considered part of the universe. Yeah. I don't know. This got weird and rambly. Also, this is our 9th bonus episode, which is really cool.
I'm sorry.
They stalled a little bit. Would you care to inform us as to why, Jacob?
So, hi. I don't know why. I mean, it's not even really a reflection on the quality of Justice League as a show. I just struggled to get myself to watch this damn show. Like, I don't know why. It's good. It's good. It's largely solid. It has some phenomenal episodes, phenomenal standouts. I think part of it and it was especially the first season, like, for whatever reason, stalled me quite a bit. Season 2, I actually knocked out.
Didn't you start it twice?
Yeah, I started it twice.
Because you just you started it and then just took such a long break that you're like, I just need to start it again.
Start it again, fresh slate.
Yeah.
And it was weird. I think it might be because the show is 2 seasons, 52 episodes.
Yep, yeah, mostly done in a serialized format.
Now, we are both big fans of a serialized format. Obviously, comic readers, it's always serialized, but we're also big classic Doctor Who fans, and that is all serialized. But I think Justice League as a show didn't really find its feet until after its first year or so.
I disagree. I think there's a lot to love in that first season.
See, I don't want to imply that the first season is bad, but I think the first season is a bit inconsistent. It also, if I'm gonna be honest, after a stellar opening story,
I love Secret Origins.
I think the next 2 stories or so in sequence, they're not bad. They're just kind of fine. And then there's a really good one, and then there's potentially the weakest story of the entire show.
You are an interesting person with those early story opinions, because damn, I really like Blackest Night and Enemy Below.
They're fine. They're fine.
You're so weird. I fucking hate you. Let's get into some questions. All right. First off, from Discord, literally just came in mere minutes ago from our friend Andrew, friend of the podcast, says, I think we can all agree that the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini shows are all good. Where would you rank Justice League in that pantheon? I think, despite I just going on a big tirade that I love these shows, it probably is the weakest of the 5 main shows in the DC animated universe. I know it's definitely your least favorite of the 3 you've seen so far.
The 3 I've seen so far. And it's not bad. It's often fantastic. Honestly, Dwayne McDuffie, who I don't know if McDuffie was really the showrunner, but has a lot of influence on this show. Whenever he's writing an episode, you know it's going to be really good. It's also, interestingly enough, this is like the first one where we really don't get a lot of writing from Bruce Timm.
Mm-hmm.
We get. I
think you get a few Paul Dini's in there.
I know there's at least one Paul Dini.
Well, he does the story for Brave and the Bold.
Right, that too. And then he does.
And then obviously he does
Comfort and Joy.
Comfort and Joy, which is just fucking. I love Comfort and Joy. Fantastic episode. But I think we both agree it's probably the weakest of the DC animated universe, but it's an excellent show, just like all the rest.
And I don't know. Honestly, what on one hand, some of the problem might be not quite adapting as well as it could to the serialized format.
I don't know. I think it does quite well with its.
See, that's the thing. It's kind of inconsistent. Sometimes it does really well. Sometimes things feel a little stretched. Sadly, largely the ones that what stinks is that this is like the first big modern cartoon that has Wonder Woman in it in a big capacity. And oftentimes, the stories that focus on exclusively her aren't always the best.
I think all the best, most well-remembered Wonder Woman moments from this show probably come from episodes that don't specifically focus on her.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that.
I don't know if they didn't get it. I don't know. I will say what the show does really well is that it actually does allow some characters to be off for a story or two. So that
I always really liked the rotating cast idea behind this show. I really, really loved that.
I mean,
the fact that of the first, I don't know, for kids, every kid loves Batman watching this show. You're watching this show, you watch the first 3 episodes, cool, really great. You get into the second story in Blackest Night, Batman is completely absent, and it instead forces you to focus on completely different characters that people may not know as much about.
Yes, and it works. Really, it cool. Works so well.
It totally works. Yeah.
Also, one thing that I think, at least for me, might be what brings this show down just a little bit is partially because it's such an ensemble. We only ever see our characters in costume.
Yeah, I mean that's something that also continues over into Unlimited as well.
Yes. Yeah, but there's they.
I mean, hell, really. They don't all learn each other's identities until the final story.
That is exactly what I was going to say, and I think that might be metatextually part of the problem. Just because you're not quite sure. Okay, how close? Are we supposed to characterize these characters as friends or just as colleagues? And
I think that is. And again, it's harder to talk about some of these things when you haven't seen Unlimited, because that very much continues on from some of these ideas. Is that this is it's a 52 episode show, but it is also still the idea is it's the early days of the Justice League. These people are still kind of just getting to know each other, and we won't really get into these 7 heroes' very specific growing dynamic until we see them among the massive ensemble cast of Unlimited.
Because Unlimited just do name a hero, they're probably in it at one point or another.
Most definitely, yeah. There are so many in that, and one of the things I love about Unlimited is that it takes the core 7, well -1 obviously, but spoilers there. But it takes those core characters from this show and almost treats them almost like these covert ops, sort of just staying behind closed doors, these are the elite of the Justice League and everyone else are just workers, and it kind of creates this very critical view of these heroes that I really enjoy, but again we'll get into that when we cover Unlimited eventually, but it's really, really interesting. So yeah, I think a lot of this show is about the growing dynamic of these characters. Anyway, that took a long time to answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. If you have one more point, go ahead.
No, I have other points that I think that could be better made later.
Andrew also asks, do you plan on watching Batman Beyond? That show is cool, especially the first season. Most definitely. Although technically we should have done Beyond before Justice League, but I kind of like the idea of watching it in chronological order. So Justice League and then Justice League Unlimited. When we do Unlimited, we're going to cut out the episode epilogue, and we're going to instead cover epilogue in the Batman Beyond coverage.
As just a big epilogue to everything?
Because here's the thing. Epilogue is pretty much just a Batman Beyond episode shoved into Justice League Unlimited. So it's very much the epilogue to the whole universe, and it's pretty great. So anyway, we also have some Twitter questions. First off, from our friend Kian at Kian the Quark. Did you know the Justice Guild episode was actually going to feature the Justice Society, but DC said no because they felt the JSA would be too caricatured? Here's the thing. I remember hearing that. I believe that's true. You're probably right, Kian.
I know that this is a point that this is a show that got Unlimited more than this got heavily impacted by the Batman embargo that started to happen,
which was
right
near very real thing. Yeah.
Oh god.
It specifically affected Unlimited because Unlimited was being made at the same time as the Dark Knight trilogy, which is when the Batman embargo really took effect. Because here at least you still get there's a story featuring the Joker and Harley and all of them, but Unlimited, that is completely gone. So it's it just changes like that. And also I think at least it's the Batman embargo is one of those things that for me just kind of helped the show in the long run, and kind of forced them to look outside of a core cast of characters that mostly came from 2 previous shows and just made it more about new characters and getting to meet new people and finding out their dynamics and things like that.
Yeah, I can't help but agree because, like, first off, there aren't a lot of Batman villains that honestly are a Justice League level threat. Let's be honest.
God, no way.
Like, and I know there's like, let's make the Joker a Justice League level threat. But oddly enough, I think the Joker's use here makes sense because it's not just the Joker.
It's Joker, Harley, and the Royal Flush Gang.
Yeah,
and, it's all of them, and even then they still lose. So, it's like there just aren't many characters you could carry over from that. It probably is more telling that significantly more Superman villains show up in this show.
Superman villains show up quite a bit. Quite a few Flash villains. And honestly, I think that's for the best. I'm surprised we didn't get the giant starfish.
I don't think they do Starro in either show, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That's surprising because I'm like, can we get a giant starfish?
Really looking back on it and knowing more about Bruce Timm these days, it's probably one of those things that he thought might have been too silly. Because they when they do Secret Origins, it's not Starro that brings the league together.
No.
It's the White Martians instead, which is cool. And it's a great story, and I love Secret Origins.
But also too silly. This is a show that this is a Justice League show. This is a show that does Dr. Destiny.
It's true.
It also brings in Etrigan the Demon.
And oh man, I love that.
Talking Gorillas.
Solomon Grundy as well, which is great. In one of the best episodes of the whole show, Terra Beyond. I love that episode. With Dr. Fate and all of it, I love that one. But yeah, anyway, he also had another question. Jeez, we're taking so long with these. Finally, the only piece of media to feature a good Flash. I mean, if we're talking adaptations, good adaptations of the Flash, we're not exactly spoiled for choice, which is a shame. It sucks, but I like Flashpoint Paradox. I think that's that's a great Flash adaptation. Otherwise, nope. Those are about the only two good ones. Yeah, Oh wow, that sucks. God, we need Flash adaptations.
Yeah, that's it's a terrible problem.
Here's the thing, like even Flashpoint Paradox the movie is labeled as a Justice League movie. Like, why in this massive pantheon of DC animated films has there never just been a solo Flash movie?
I mean, probably because it may not sell that well.
People love the Flash.
I mean, people love Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman has only gotten 2 solo films. Both of them were at one point going to get sequels that were canceled because they didn't make enough money.
Well, I think the Bloodlines sequel was canceled because that whole universe was resetting.
My point still stands.
Yeah.
Things get canceled. Because I hate to say it, if it doesn't, if you look at the bonus episodes for DC that we are doing, Batman's going to be in the title a lot.
Yeah.
Jason.
There's a lot of great Batman media to cover, obviously.
There is, and I'm happy to do it.
We are clearly big lovers of Batman on the podcast. But yeah, it's just more of a diverse.
One of these days, we need to do a bonus episode on the serials of the 1940s and see what madness we do there.
Next, we have a set of Twitter questions. And actually, I think this is it, right? Yeah, this is the last one. Okay, cool. Last set here. From our friend English Giraffe at English_Giraffe. This and Batman Beyond were my introduction to the DC animated universe, and I'm so glad they were. While I think that Justice League Unlimited is the better between the two, everything here is just superb. Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Flash being standouts. I'm also glad Batman wasn't really center stage. There's not a bad episode. Best episodes being Legends, Blackest Night, Star-Crossed, and A Better World. Best usage of superheroes going dark, in my opinion. Something I'll give Justice League over other DCAU shows is the multi-part format, allowing all these characters and the world building to breathe. Yeah, agreed on pretty much all points. Yeah.
Actually, I disagree. I think there is one actually bad episode.
Even then, I don't think it's actively bad.
Look, Paradise Lost was another one of those episodes that made me stop watching for a while.
Jacob, you stopped watching for a while between every fucking story.
That is only like half true.
That's mostly true. Come on.
I don't know what it is. I don't know because I promise, dear listeners, the next bonus episode will for a show should not take over a year to get out.
Jacob, if it takes you a year to watch 13 episodes, I'm going to kill you.
It won't. It won't. I won't. It won't. I promise.
Anyway, let's get into some proper discussions though about the larger show. Let's talk the cast. I want to talk the cast.
Yes, yeah.
So we have waxed lyrical many times, specifically on the bonus episodes about Kevin Conroy Batman. But I mean, why not one more time? Who cares? We love Conroy. Obviously, we love Kevin Conroy so much.
Oddly enough, I don't want to say this is like a weak show for Conroy. I think putting him in the background means that Batman as a character not getting as much focus means there's some utterly fantastic moments for the character.
Oh yeah,
especially in the series premiere and the series finale. Like that moment where Batman's just like, okay, we're cutting the crap, and here's everybody's identities.
I figured you all out like years ago. Here everyone is. Great moment. One of my favorite examples of that is perfectly built up to if you're watching the show in order. When you do Secret Origins, and then in Blackest Night he's gone, and then you do Enemy Below, and he comes in for that Deadshot chase, and you have that amazing scene where Deadshot won't speak. And then all Batman does is whisper into his ear, and he's like, "Fine, fuck, I'll talk." It's a perfect moment. Seriously, the fact that he isn't center stage allows those moments when he does come in and does his fucking Batman thing hit so much harder. And Conroy is Conroy, so he always absolutely nails it. It's a really fantastic performance, and not much more to say from what we've talked about before, I guess. So
yeah.
So we have a bit of a cast change here. Back to this show from Superman the Animated Series, but it is still the same character. Taking over for him is George Newbern. How did you find Newbern?
I'm not sure who I prefer, honestly.
It's a tough call. It's a really tough call. Newbern, I think, in equal measure to Daly, is one of those voices I just can easily hear when reading Superman comics. I don't know. Maybe it's because George Newbern has done the role more than Daly. That might be it. But also, I think both of their voices are just absolutely perfect for the role, and also very similar. That should go without saying. He was cast for a reason because he sounds enough like the last guy that did it. But I really love what Newbern does with the character.
Yeah, he's very good. He gets Superman again. Superman gets a lot of great moments. And some great focus in the stories, as well as really getting to flex one of the few very good portrayals of an evil Superman. In one specific two-parter.
It is worth noting, oddly enough, that story having inspired, I believe, the Injustice video game, is also Newbern as Superman in Injustice, and he's fantastic in that as well. Thoughts on Injustice aside, which actually I think that whole game, well, the Trinity at least in that is also the whole Justice League cast. It's Eisenberg as Wonder Woman and Conroy as Batman, so that's cool.
Yeah, I know the other characters are in that game are largely different actors.
Yeah, but the Trinity's all there, and that's always cool.
Again, I also find it just really interesting to see George Newbern sort of really get to flex his muscles in that finale as well. Because again, we don't get. It is kind of a shame that we don't get enough of Newbern as Clark Kent because we don't have any, any sort of civilian scenes right until the very end. Also, this is very much a show that decide that because we have a main cast of 7, right?
6? Yeah, 7.
I can count. My brain is like, yeah. I keep wanting to say 6, but I know that's wrong. Like,
I mean, now it's 6.
Now it's 6, yeah,
after the finale, but yeah, it's 7 throughout the whole show.
It's 7 throughout the show, so you can't really have like that ensemble. You gotta focus on them. I would have loved a couple more scenes between Newbern and Dana Delaney as Lois Lane, because Dana Delaney does return quite a bit in a handful of episodes, and I feel like the chemistry could be there. It's just they don't get nearly as much time because this is an ensemble show. I also find the show's use of Superman interesting because Superman is often also gets, even when he's in a story, he will get preoccupied as sort of the big powerhouse of the team, which is, again, helps let other characters shine their unique elements in a very interesting way. Newbern is my point on all this is that Newbern is great. Just as Daly was great. I also don't know if Daly would have played it the same way as Newbern.
No, I don't think he would have. No way. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think there's just these enough subtle differences between the two performances that I think make enough of a difference. Anyway, there's also the wonderful Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman, who I adore.
Eisenberg just kind of knocks it out of the park from the first scene she's in. Like,
oh yeah.
From the word go,
never a bad moment from her.
And you know how good Eisenberg is because the Wonder Woman focused episodes are often like the weakest scripts. But Eisenberg is like, I'm going to take this Crumbo script and I'm just going to run with it because I'm a professional. And especially since like this show, again, we don't reveal secret identities until the finale. So we don't ever really get a sense of like sort of the human like civil identity side of Wonder Woman. I also say that Eisenberg and Conroy in the sort of like near the end, I don't like the ship of Superman of Batman. I don't like pairing Wonder Woman with Batman or Superman.
Come on, I mean
this show Eisenberg and Conroy have chemistry. It's the terrible problem.
Chemistry. I love these.
You have chemistry. It does not work for your characters, but damn it, you're selling it.
This universe is the only one in which the ship could work, I think.
Yes. I mean, it probably helps that Catwoman is nowhere in the picture.
No, God, no way. But yeah, no, they have amazing chemistry, and they do really go hard at that in Unlimited. They're fantastic together, and Susan Eisenberg is just, for me, just my default Wonder Woman voice in my head. She's just phenomenal. Yeah. Also, I just love that Susan Eisenberg, I don't know if you know this, just has a really deep passion for the show, and up to this day, just is always clamoring for like a Justice League reunion kind of thing. She loves hanging out with the cast. I think she does like regular watch parties of the show with them. It's really cool, and she feels like really passionately about the role, which I think is just great for her. So, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, let's talk Green Lantern, because I fucking love Phil LaMarr. Oh my god.
I mean, it's Phil LaMarr. It's Phil LaMarr.
Everyone loves Phil LaMarr. Yeah, he's amazing. And also, just one of the greatest choices this show does is that Green Lantern is John Stewart, which is just, I don't know. Here's the thing. It's weird to look back on now, but at the time, Hal Jordan was very much not the face you associated with Green Lantern.
Wouldn't it have been? It would have been Kyle. before the
yeah, Kyle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which actually makes the choice for John even more interesting because it would have been Kyle to the point where when they did Green Lantern and Superman the animated series, it was Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, it was they gave the character, they gave the role to Kyle, which is honestly, I think the change here especially works largely because Kyle Rayner on this team would have been a younger voice.
Yeah,
and we already have a very young voice with even if it doesn't matter which Flash they would have used, unless it was like Jay Garrick, and they were never going to use Jay Garrick.
No,
they weren't going to use Jay Garrick. It was going to feel like a younger voice, and I feel like Phil LaMarr plays John as like he's not drawn to look older, but LaMarr plays it older.
He does, yeah,
and it's a very conscious choice.
Although with age, with being one of the older characters in the show, he's still very headstrong. Still feels very passionately about the things that he does. He's not being the oldest doesn't necessarily mean he's the wisest, which I think is a very important distinction to make with his character. When you have
any of these people,
when you have older wiser figures on the team like Martian Manhunter, I think that's a great distinction to make. So, yeah.
I find LaMarr's portrayal again. LaMarr as John Stewart gets a romance, a romance that really only comes in solidly in the back half of the second season. Though I will say there are clear, subtle hints earlier on.
Definitely.
And these are hints that are actually there, unlike some other slow burn romances that I've seen in television recently. That are just not there. But this one is there, and it's interesting. And the way it plays out it helps make the finale one of the best episodes of the show.
And I'll say, despite the fact that character is not on the team by the end of the show, that plotline does not end here. That is another thing that gets continued over into Unlimited.
I don't think Unlimited would work as a show if they didn't keep a lot of the character threads going.
Well, Unlimited is a very different beast structure-wise. It very much is just seasons 3, 4, and 5 of Justice League.
I know they essentially traded in doing literal serials to just make it a little more serialized in terms of character arcs when they rather than like 2-part serials, it's the whole season is a story and it's individual stories being told within that larger story. Because let's be honest, the other 2 shows that we've covered in the DCAU at this point weren't really serialized.
No, they were all their own thing. Each episode told its own story. Every now and then you got multi-part episodes, but they weren't serialized. No.
And while the characters were developed, the character arcs weren't so rigidly defined in terms of serial format because character development
there's a reason that really with BTAS and STAS you can watch them in either release order or production order. With Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, it's a lot more reliant on what order you watch the episodes in.
Yeah, especially the second season of Justice League. The first season.
Oh yeah.
The first season you can swap around some of these episodes quite a bit. I think certain releases actually do swap around 1 or 2 of the stories.
I think so, yeah.
But and I feel like what I know from Unlimited is that Unlimited is going to be a thing that you have to watch in order.
And
then and have that in mind. Which part of that was also just, I'd argue, the beginnings of the changing landscape of television between the 90s and the early 2000s. Because the late 90s saw the rise of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And for as horrible person that Joss Whedon is, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is kind of a show that changed the landscape of television just completely. It's it's the reason a lot of like even of like it's kind of the progenitor of modern TV being so story arc driven. Over the course of a season, and that is
anyway. Yeah. Shall we? Let's talk about the Flash.
Let's talk about
played by Michael Rosenbaum, who's not significant at all to anything in the larger.
What? No, I've never seen.
Which does make look. I have to ask. Do you already know the scene from Unlimited with Flash?
I have seen that clip out of context.
Okay, it's such a good clip. There's a
I don't know who this is.
Yeah, such a great scene. Yeah, because Michael Rosenbaum is obviously known for being Lex Luthor in Smallville. But he got his start rather here. Actually, no, I think he was doing both of these at the same time. Actually,
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure they're the same time because this started in 2001. Smallville.
Yeah.
Smallville
would have started a little before.
Maybe? I just googled it. Smallville started in 2001.
That's crazy.
Oh, you know, technically right. You're technically right. Smallville started about 3 to 4 weeks before Justice League.
That's insane. I love that.
So basically the same time.
So good for him. Yeah. So, and also importantly, he's playing Wally West Flash, which also would have been the norm at the time. Nobody would even really consider putting Barry Allen in such a prominent role as the Flash because he had been dead for quite a number of years in the comics. So here we have Wally, and I was curious what you thought of Wally in general, and also just of course Michael Rosenbaum portrayal.
So I mean, again, one of the the Flash here is one of the characters who I think really suffers from having no scenes out of the superhero identity until the very end. Largely because he's kind of relegated often to comic relief, which is, I mean, this is a show aimed at a younger audience made in the early 2000s. I am not a child, so the humor is gonna be hit or miss. It is by no means like bad humor or like juvenile.
You're telling me you don't love DJ Rubber-Ducky?
I mean, okay. Look, some of it makes me cringe, but like in that, oh god,
come on! I genuinely love that.
It is a cringe in the I would have eaten the shit up if I saw it as a child. It's very well done. His comic relief, I think they get a very nice humanistic portrayal of who Wally West is, or at least an adult Wally West is, because teenage Wally West. Go see our third episode on the new Teen Titans for some takes.
Why? What's wrong with Wally West there, Jacob?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. If you want to know my thoughts, I think I have a fairly large rant in that episode.
I think you do.
Probably more than one, knowing me.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, let's see. We'll save him for last. Oh god, I'm gonna butcher the name.
Maria Canals Ferreira.
Thank you. As Hawkgirl,
the mom from Wizards of Waverly Place.
You are absolutely correct about that.
That's she's good. She's I cannot hear the mom from Wizards of Waverly Place whenever she shows up in anything.
She's also done a fair few other DC animated things.
She has.
Yeah, she was Ellen in the Dark Knight Returns adaptation, and also Jaime Reyes' mom in the Judas Contract adaptation, which is cool. So,
yes.
Anyway,
I don't know if I like the decision of this isn't on Canals Pereira's performance, but just on the show's decision to make it Hawk Girl instead of Hawk Woman. I've looked into the character, and like apparently even in the comics she was Hawk Woman at the time.
And oddly enough, that has very much kind of affected. I think the show really affected her overall portrayal because she's kind of been Hawk Girl ever since.
Yeah, which is a thing. I think.
I mean, I don't mind it. It's what it is.
what's kind of a shame is that as a character, she doesn't really get to. It's not that she doesn't get to shine; it's that she doesn't. We don't get like what's really interesting about her backstory right until the very end.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
yeah, if they had introduced Carter Hall somehow, like before those last few episodes, like
I will say the run of like.
And also, like we've already alluded to it before, but her relationship with John is fantastic.
The run of Hereafter to the end of the show is like fantastic, just utterly fantastic. At least specifically, it's one that does some great stuff. Like I'll say it, all of those episodes are somewhere in my top 10.
Probably same here actually.
Yeah.
Let me see. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, they all are. Yeah.
Yeah. My finding a top 10 for this show is hard because despite like it's the problem of outside of one episode, at worst it's fine. Like and when it hits really hard, but like it's just really solid. It's like that's solid, and there are 20 something stories to rank because we didn't do a bottom 10 for this episode because
no. Well, also there are only 25 stories altogether. Yeah. It's just like you're not exactly going to get a bottom 10, especially for a show that's so just consistently solid, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, final member. And honestly, just like this show is the whole reason he's one of my favorite DC characters. Carl Lumbly as J'onn J'onzz, the Martian Manhunter, who I adore, I love him.
So I'm glad they included this character, honestly. Like, so I will say, before even starting this, I had actually read the Martian Manhunter's original appearance in sort of the 80 years of Detective Comics collection.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's you should read it, Joey, because it's sort of like weird, pulpy sci-fi, and it's utterly fascinating. Cool. But I really like the fact that the Martian Manhunter as a character is sort of I don't want to say he's not our point of view, but he's very much the focus of that opener. And as a focus, even though there are times where he's in the background, he never feels forgotten. He feels like a character that the writers were just going to be like, we don't know what to do with this character, so we're going to shove him to the background. It'd probably be the Martian Manhunter. But they don't. They give him some great stuff. They give him some great moments. They try to grapple with him being the last of his kind. I don't think they, again, because it's an ensemble show, I don't think they do it as well as, say, Superman and Superman the Animated Series. Because
that's fair.
Yeah.
Again, on Superman, they do draw some pretty great parallels between him and Clark.
Paralleling them is the smartest decision that they made. I'm not going to give away another one of my favorite episodes has those parallels baked into the episode.
And especially in like a show that like where most people know Superman's origin, like getting people who are probably pretty unfamiliar with Martian Manhunter as a character to really understand him through the lens of Superman. I think it's really cool and really works in the show's favor. Also, my God, like something that is not talked about enough is that Martian Manhunter is just one of the strongest DC characters ever. Super powerful, just like, I don't know, could probably kick Superman's ass, maybe.
He probably deserves his own book. Like
he's had a few of his own books. One of which is particularly good in the late New 52, which I really enjoyed.
But he deserves his own. He should be one of those characters who's has his own book all the time. Also, Aquaman. Come on, DC.
Yes. Who is not part of the main lineup in this show, which I'm fine with, but also like I kind of want Aquaman to be part of the main lineup. but it's fine. He gets a few good episodes in here, and plus he's in Unlimited a fair bit. So anyway, let's talk about episodes now. Let's get into the seasons and what we think of them. So you've talked
all 2 of them
already. Yeah, all 2 of them. Yeah,
so many.
You talked a fair bit already about your. I struggle to say distaste for season 1 because it's not really.
It's not taste. They're just some that I like didn't gel with as much. Okay, this is part of the problem about talking about anything on the internet is that we are so polarized that something either has to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I know, and like it's I understand where you're coming from. I really love season 1 myself, but I understand. Yeah, where you're coming from, but
I mean, it's not going to be like there were some contenders for some of the best episodes, and like I think my top 10 it's slightly biased in terms of season 2, especially like the top 5 is pretty much all season 2 bar 1. But it is one of those very. It feels like they don't quite know what. Like early on, they don't quite know what they're doing. Like they aren't quite. They are. It's like, okay, are we gonna
see? I don't know if I agree with that, but I understand.
Yeah, it's like, are we gonna do a bunch of also bring in other characters early on with things like the enemy below, and then they kind of don't do that? Are we gonna just do how often are we gonna just split up the team? Which I think they end up finding a very nice balance for that. How much is every character going to get a focus? And things like that. It becomes kind of kind of hit or miss almost, but like the misses aren't too terrible misses. Like they're often still decent. They're often still pretty good, even if they don't always work for me. But I also think
I will
also
ask,
just
sorry, go ahead.
The back half of season 1, I'd argue they probably find their feet about halfway through season 1, maybe a little less than that, when they really start getting things rolling.
Yeah. I will ask, what is your favorite and least favorite of the season?
So honestly, my favorite is probably the premiere.
Okay, interesting.
It is.
I think I have maybe a weird decision for my favorite of the season. I don't see it talked about enough, but I always adored this story so much.
Yeah.
And it's probably way too high on my top 10. The Savage Time.
See, here's the thing. The Savage Time sadly isn't in my top 10, but it was like really.
I love the Savage Time.
The thing, it was really close. I'm like, but I really. I want. Yeah, the Savage Time is such a. We need to talk about Savage Time because
Savage Time is weird, and I think I love it because it's so weird.
The plot involves an alternate history where the Nazis win World War II in a children's show
on Cartoon Network. It has like a post-credit scene where they tease Adolf Hitler. It's so weird. It's so weird.
It is so.
I love it. I just I can't. I think it's great. I think we both agree on our least favorite, though.
Yeah, it's
Paradise Lost. Yeah.
It's just it doesn't work. It does the whole girl power thing, but also it's written and directed by 2 dudes. It's like
and also has a bad portrayal of Hades. So there's that.
The annoyance of Hades. I will say it's then the immediate next episode has a very fun guest appearance from Eric Roberts.
It's true.
As Mongol.
Yep.
And I do have to ask, because I know what's coming in Justice League Unlimited. And I know a certain Mongol story by Alan Moore gets adapted. Is it Eric Roberts in that adaptation?
I'm kind of blanking right now.
It might be because Roberts does a bunch of stuff.
I'll look it up. While we're doing this. Here we go. Okay, so here I'm on the episode cast. Cast. Come on, take me to the cast. Oh my god, where is the cast?
Where is the cast?
Give me the cast. It is.
It is
Eric Roberts. It is, and that's really why it's Alan Moore's favorite favorite of his own adaptations. Anyway, any specific episodes we want to call out while we're talking about season 1, or do we want to try to like do our top 10s and talk about things maybe we missed afterwards?
Yeah, I think that might be for the best.
Okay, all right. Well, then let's talk about our favorite and least favorite of season 2.
Yes.
Do we have the same favorite? Maybe.
I don't know what my favorite of season 2 is.
You don't know what your favorite season 2 is?
I don't know what your favorite is. I know what mine is.
Okay. Mine is A Better World.
Oh, we're different actually.
Okay. What do we got?
I have wild cards.
Oh, now that's an interesting call out.
I don't know. I think there's something about it like that.
It's great. It's a fantastic episode.
Interesting way.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think it has a fascinating Mark Hamill performance. You have the voice cast of Teen Titans as the Royal Plush Gang.
That's true.
And kind of a haunting ending, like really haunting and really interesting. It is just really solid. It also feels like an absurd Silver Age Joker plot, and I think we could all use some absurd Silver Age Joker plots occasionally.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
I think for my least favorite, which I'm actually just now realizing has the same writer and director as Paradise Lost, is Eclipsed. It's just like the only one in season 2 that I just don't really feel anything about. It's okay.
Yeah. No. Is that my least favorite? Maybe.
I'm curious. Did you have a least favorite of season 2 in mind, or were you just
didn't. I honestly didn't. Yeah, because that's. I mean, Eclipsed is it does sort of the Eclipso thing. I mean, I will say I'm surprised they got away with references to Seduction of the Innocent in Eclipse.
Yeah.
And you have G. Gordon Godfrey, a lot of Jack Kirby characters, but they don't make them always very fun. And also the Flash plot of the Flash selling out and having.
It is fun though. I do like that.
It's fun. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
It's probably but like I said, it's probably just the episode that I don't feel much about personally. Yeah, shall we get into some top 10s? Because I feel like we're going to have some wildly differing lists. I feel like here's the thing. It's one of those shows that I feel like you can like and dislike pretty much anything from. Like, I feel like nobody is really going to have the same opinions on the show as a whole. Because, it's just like everyone will take different things from different episodes and different seasons and stories. And I don't know. That's how I see it, at least. But anyway, are we doing it the same way we did our previous ones, where we do like go one at a time and see what each of our numbers were?
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead, give me your number 10.
So my number 10 is actually Only a Dream.
Ooh, okay.
That's because I'm a sucker for like let's do some character pieces on Greatest Fears and
I was gonna say also
After Destiny.
Of course, nobody is surprised.
is great. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of those things where you get some really good performances from the main cast. Obviously, as well, Dr. Destiny. I just looked it up. Is played by William Atherton, who is fantastic.
It's a great episode.
Yeah, it's a great two-parter. It knows what it's doing. It has.
I'll say that one's actually probably not on my. It's not on my list at all. Actually, that's a great call out.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I have a feeling that our lists are going to be different overall.
Yeah.
Just because...
like really different. Yeah. My number 10 personally is Twilight. I really like Twilight myself. One of the only like direct follow-ups to one of the previous shows that Justice League does, with following on from where Superman the animated series ends, when his relationship with Darkseid. It's one that I have a really that I just really enjoy personally.
Sadly, I don't know. It sadly doesn't make my list, but it was also a very good choice. Like,
yeah, it's a fantastic episode. All right, give me your number 9.
Well, I mean, some of these are just because I really like the characters that appear, but A Night of Shadows, okay? Like, again.
Nice. Again. Etrigan the Demon call out. We love it.
Like, you put Etrigan in your show, and you put Jason Blood, and you get some great Batman moments here. I really like it.
Another one that is not on my list personally, which our lists are going to be really different, aren't they?
Yeah, they might start to. They might
line up a little more, maybe in the top 5, maybe.
Yeah,
but we'll see. However, my number 9 I think is almost definitely on yours, but mine is probably much lower than yours. Hereafter for me personally.
Mine is a little further up. Hereafter is just really good take on the death of Superman.
And also Superman Revenge Squad, which we love to see.
Yes.
And
check out Fresh-Faced One-Shots, where we've done
talked about the Lex Luthor Revenge Squad recently. So that's great. I remember, God, one of the biggest things that always sticks out to me watching this show as a kid is just that cold open of them killing Superman. I think it's just a fantastic scene that perfectly sets the tone for it. It's fantastic, and also Lobo content. So there's that. So,
oh God, the Lobo content.
so yeah. Hit me with your number 8.
So my number 8 is actually another one from season 1. It is Injustice for All.
Nice.
Again, Clancy Brown, I think, is what.
Yep.
I mean, you also get a great Mark Hamill and the whole Injustice gang, Injustice League concept. But like Clancy Brown really sells the Lex Luthor is dying of cancer in this children's animated television show.
They do that in this. Yeah, seriously, like it's just and it's really something that could be said about all of the DC animated universe shows, but just the amount of shit they're able to get away with because they're treating it I think in such a mature way that doesn't talk down to kids, which I think is important. I don't know. It's always done really well, and of course, we love the Injustice Gang, so that's fun. We get a lot of great characters that show up in this. That's always fun. So, yeah. My number 8 personally is probably one that's also much higher on your list. Secret Origins. This is where it lies personally for me. We've already talked about Secret Origins a fair bit. It's an amazing opener. Just perfectly tells you what the show's about, and it's a great time. Great character introductions.
Also great another one with some great follow-up from Superman the Animated Series.
True. With Batman and Superman's relationship.
Yeah.
All right, give me a number 7.
My number 7 is Legends.
Legends, nice.
Fun Silver Age, parallel world stuff. Just really solid.
The only thing I can really say against Legends is the writer of it. so there's that.
Oh shit! I didn't realize that's
yeah, it sucks. But
you know what? It was actually written by Paul Dini. We're gonna say,
absolutely.
It does feel like kind of a thing that Paul Dini would have written.
Oh, totally. But also, given his CW work, I mean, Andrew Kreisberg is a big JSA guy. So, anyway, my number 7, we've already talked about it. Injustice for All. That's where it lies for me personally.
Also, we just have it with swap places.
Yeah, we have it swapped. So yeah, go ahead with your number 6.
All right, my number 6 is actually Hereafter.
Hey, there we go.
That's just where it falls. Like we said, great death of Superman. Great Vandal Savage appearance.
I love his relationship with Clark in that one.
The way they portray the timeline shifting near the end is also, I think, just really, really nice. Really cinematic, very, very nice. But yeah, one that is great.
Number 6 for me personally is Wild Cards. It's Mark Hamill Joker being Mark Hamill Joker, and you got a great ensemble cast alongside him. Great race against the clock. I always love the timer aspect of that episode, and
they leave the timer on screen for the entire thing.
It's so good. I think it falls off a little bit towards the end, doesn't it?
I disagree.
No. I mean the timer. The timer literally, I think, just kind of like it like doesn't literally line up towards the end of the episode. Yeah. So I wasn't saying the episode. I wasn't saying the episode falls off in quality or anything.
No. And then Hindenwalch at the end though just is so good. Also, one of those last Arlene Sorkin performances as Harley.
Yeah. But hey, we love her. I'll say my number 5 next because it's one we already mentioned. Legends. That's where it lies for me personally. It's top 5 material for me. I really love Legends. It's a great episode. Go ahead with your number 5 then.
My number 5 is A Better World.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, it's great. It's alternate reality. I love when we let our heroes, get to play villains, because it just allows sort of the actors to cut loose, and that's always so fun to watch. I think the Justice Lords are so interesting, and I love the inciting incident of that universe being like this cycle of death and cycle of violence. Really good.
Yeah. Go ahead with your number 4 as well while we're here.
So my number 4 is the finale, Star-Crossed.
Hey, it's my number 4 as well.
Yes, hey, we lined up on something.
We did it. That's definitely the only one that's going to line up. Definitely.
I mean, you've already mentioned 2 in my top 3. So
yeah. I think you've already mentioned. We've only mentioned one of my top 3 actually. So
yeah.
Unless we get that one.
I think Star-Crossed works so well. It gives Hawkgirl her best characterization. Obviously, that great Batman scene. You have several great Batman scenes. You get to see Superman be smart as Clark Kent and just be Clark and use investigative reporting in exactly one scene. And I wish there was more of it. I think
also just ends on a really somber note for the show.
It's also like Batman is going to sacrifice himself in this episode. And then, of course he gets saved at the last minute because Superman isn't going to let Batman sacrifice himself. What are you talking about? And then just the sadness of Hawkgirl deciding I'm resigning from the League basically because of everything I've done.
It's a lot.
Great.
But it's great stuff. Go ahead with your number 3.
My number 3 is actually Secret Origins.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. One of the best openers for any of the DCAU shows. I think of all the DCAU.
I love the way Martian Manhunter is portrayed in that one.
It is great. White Martian Pot's great. Everybody pretty much just slips immediately into their roles. Aside from Conroy, who, is Kevin Conroy, so he's already been in that role for years at this point. And it's great. Yeah.
My number 3 personally is The Savage Time. It's such a bizarre 3-parter. Also, for me personally, has just one of the best adapted versions of Steve Trevor, and portrays his relationship to Wonder Woman as not strictly a romantic thing, which I really love. I love that last scene where she sees him in the future. It's just beautiful stuff. And also just, I know we already mentioned it, but it's worth mentioning again, the insanity of teasing Adolf Hitler like a post-credit scene to a Marvel movie is probably the funniest thing this whole
children's show in 2002.
Yeah, cryogenically frozen Adolf Hitler. Just absolutely insane and such a great time. I really love it. All right, I have a feeling there's the potential for our number 2s to line up right now. Go ahead.
Well, my number 2 is Comfort and Joy.
Yes, number 2, Comfort and Joy. Yes, I love Comfort and Joy. Absolutely.
I mean, it's weird because I don't love when Christmas specials have to get to be all overly schmaltzy, but this one it really works.
It's so good, so good.
Like there's the conflict is there, but it's low stakes.
It's simple. Including Grodd in such a way.
Well, it's not Grodd; it's the Ultra Humanite.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, Ultra Human. I apologize. I don't know why I remember it as Grodd.
Because they're both kind of gorilla-ish.
They're both monkey.
It's a Paul Dini script.
It's a Paul Dini script. DJ Rubba Ducky is here, which is perfect.
And of course, just all the
features easily. Probably my favorite scene in the whole show is the Martian Manhunter scene. Paired up with Superman, Clark trying to look through his presents that are lead lined. It's beautiful shit.
Santa wrapped them with lead.
Yes, that's Santa wrapped, of course, in lead wrapping paper. It's a beautiful episode. And oddly enough, the only one-parter, and it rests as our number 2. It just, if that doesn't kind of tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what will. All right, I forget. Did I mention your number 1 already somewhere on my list?
You did.
Okay, and you definitely mentioned my number 1 already. So
my number 1 is Wild Cards.
That's such an interesting choice for number 1.
I don't know. It's just perfect.
I'm not saying it's a bad choice or anything.
Perfect Silver Age madness.
It's fun. And my number 1 is A Better World, which is just it's a better world. It's one of the most well-known episodes of the whole show, and for good reason. And it's potentially its larger effects on the world of superhero adaptations maybe aren't as appreciated, but I still love it. I think it's a fantastic episode, and another one where just like that cold open sticks with me so much. The Superman killing Lex, it's wonderful.
Yes.
Anyway, that does our top 10s. Let's talk about some other episodes we haven't really gotten a chance to touch on much throughout this. Just kind of running down the list.
Is the Terror Beyond? I know you briefly mentioned it, but
I did mention the Terror Beyond because it has that gorgeous Solomon Grundy scene at the end.
It's also a Lovecraftian story, and we're doing Lovecraft stuff in a children's show in 2000.
Terror Beyond was just like right there, almost on my list, probably my number 11. But it's such a good story, and also Dr. Fate content, which we always need and love. So there's that. We briefly talked about Blackest Night before, but also just I love when it didn't do it often, but I love when the show would do Green Lantern focused episodes.
Yeah, it didn't go into space all that often, honestly. It stayed,
especially also Green Lantern adaptations in a time before Jeff Johns' Green Lantern is super interesting to see, and to see how that would be done.
I mean, obviously, Green Lantern was still very popular before Johns.
But so many things that people think of when it comes to Green Lantern these days come from the Jeff Johns run, and just seeing an adaptation completely removed from any of that is really cool. I don't know, I love that. The Enemy Below we also briefly talked about. We love Aquaman content, which is great. And I already mentioned that Deadshot scene that I love so much. It's also just an Aquaman adaptation, also completely separated from how we kind of think of the character today. One that is very much entrenched
in the 90s.
Entrenched in Aquaman. Yeah, Aquaman of the 90s. Hook hand and all.
Yeah.
War World, we also briefly mentioned before. That's a great two-parter. Just fun stuff. The Brave and the Bold is an interesting one. First appearance of Grodd in the show, which is really cool. A big, just Gorilla City focus story, which is really cool. It's a great time. Fury, I think, is kind of what Paradise Lost should have been. It kind of does the whole feminist messaging of Paradise Lost way better. This has a much better focus on its female characters. I really appreciate that.
Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis. That's a really good one.
Does Metamorpho, and he's great. Rest in peace, Ramona Fradon, who passed away recently.
Yep. Tabula Rasa is a great one for Amazo, for the Amazo fans out there. It's a really cool one actually. I like the way that they do Amazo learning everyone's powers, and it's a fun time. It's a really interesting episode. You already mentioned Only a Dream. Maid of Honor, I find a really fun one. I think it's actually a really good episode for Wonder Woman. Probably the best Wonder Woman focused Wonder Woman episode, if that makes sense.
And look here, it's written by Dwayne McDuffie.
What do you know?
Who's probably the best writer on this show.
Almost definitely. I mean, Paul Dini's right there, but Dwayne McDuffie very.
Dini only writes a full script for one episode, and
okay, but that full script was our number 2 choice.
And this is true.
So there's that. Hearts and Minds, Kilowog content. Come on, what's not to love? Yeah,
that there isn't more Kilowog content.
Well, yeah, more Kilowog content, but again, more Green Lantern stuff. Just it's cool to see. Good to see. Let's see. Is that
Secret Society?
Secret Society. That's the only one that we didn't mention. The broad focused episode. It's good. It's just kind of there. It's a good time.
It kind of gets lost in a right before that, like just solid run to such a solid run to the finish.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that does it for episodes.
Yeah,
for most of the discussion, actually.
Yeah, there aren't any movies we watched that are part of this show. So that was Justice League. I'm glad we covered it.
That was Justice League. Yeah.
Shall we announce our next TV show that we're doing now?
Sure. But first, I think it's worth mentioning. I think our next actual bonus episode is a comic thing, isn't it?
Yes. When we,
I think next bonus episode, whenever that comes about,
we'll probably do it in a month or two from now. I think we'll probably try to get that to work out.
Yep. And then I'm very excited because we're finally continuing another set of TV shows that we started a while back.
Yes, we are doing.
Go ahead.
Season 1 of Jessica Jones, which
unlike last time we started covering the Marvel Netflix shows, where you had seen all of Daredevil season 1, I think you said you've seen one episode of Jessica Jones?
Maybe 2. I'm not sure, but I know.
But I'm sure also memories are really vague.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for you to watch that. Jessica Jones season 1 for me is just one of the best seasons to come out of that side of the MCU. I'm really excited to see what you think. It's a great show. And then after that, I don't think we really know what's coming after that. But it's a good look at the foreseeable future for
Hopefully, there won't be nearly as big of a gap.
I believe last time.
Yes.
So I think we did S-Task like over a year ago, right?
Yeah, it was over a year ago.
Oh, we also got to continue the Arkham games at some point.
We do. That's gonna happen, but it's another video game has kind of taken over my video game branding space.
Oh, go ahead, Jacob. What video game?
I'm not gonna say it on air. We don't need to talk about it.
We need to talk about it.
Go ahead. We don't.
I think you should tell the world what you've been playing.
But it's not a comic thing, so they don't need to know.
I mean, there are. I'm sure you could connect comics somehow to it.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
If you don't say it, I will.
Okay, we're playing Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, it is fantastic. It is.
I don't think anyone's gonna get mad at you for that. The whole world loves Baldur's Gate 3 right now. So
it has been very fun. I also started Arkham City, but I haven't gotten too terribly far at this point. Because
it's true. You should continue that because it's pretty great.
So. Yes, but also because games also do just take longer to play than
only if you don't play them. I once completed an entire play of Arkham City in 2 days. Casually.
I don't have that much time.
Anyway, well, I think that actually does it. Thank you all so much for listening. Wherever you're listening to us, be sure to leave a rating and a comment or review if you can, wherever you're listening to us. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever. Subscribe to wherever you're listening to us on. Subscribe to Blood Donut Studios on YouTube. That's always important. Next time on actual Fresh Face Comics, we are releasing the second volume of our coverage of the second volume of Grant Morrison's Action Comics, Bulletproof.
Yes.
And we'll be doing with other DC things going forward. So,
which we have not recorded yet.
So you don't know what's coming yet.
I don't know what's coming. Yeah.
So
I'm sure we'll probably have recorded it by the time this actually
by the time this comes out. Oh yeah, definitely. So check all that out. Check out Fresh Face One Shots on the channel. We've been covering Superman by Joshua Williamson, Wonder Woman by Tom King, Batman: The Brave and the Bold by Various, and there's the possibility of us adding another title to that in the semi-near future. I don't know. Nothing is really final or set in stone. It's an idea we've been tossing around.
Yes.
Other promotions. What do you have going
on? As always, my review blog. I will probably have just finished reviewing the Thrawn trilogy by the time that this comes out, for sure. Because this is going to be well over a week away from time of recording. And after that, I'm actually doing some more Doctor Who book reviews.
Yay!
Doing a handful of those. Before jumping back to a sci-fi series I started earlier this year that I'm going to be reviewing as well, kind of by accident. As well as, of course, I have been reviewing Star Trek, the original series. As me in blog form, Joey's been doing it with his brother in video form.
It's true, and also it's worth noting, for those that keep up with that, me and my brother are finally getting back to recording. We're still way ahead in recording, but we're finally getting back to recording after taking 2 whole months off, and I'm really excited about that.
I think that at the time
is all.
I think at the time of this release, if this is coming out on the 18th, we'll just done an episode called "The Lights of Zetar."
Oh man, everyone watch that video. I have a fucking meltdown. Not for any reason, not for any fault of the episode or anything. It's that fucking title. It's not another like Adonai. It's not that bad.
Oh,
but
no, this is. I can tell you this. This is a made up word.
Yes, definitely. It's just one of the. Look, just watch the video. You'll see what I mean. Otherwise, the Star Trek is videos are coming out. Otherwise, R2BD has a very different, unorthodox video episode coming out in the near future. We've had trouble recently. We're getting back on it. We're getting back on track with that. And otherwise, Breaking Brian exists. Anyway, that about does it. Thank you all so much for watching / listening, wherever you're doing that. And I guess until next time, this has been Joey Morgan,
Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.